Welcome to the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT, the show built for professional truck drivers. Bringing you the latest insights, hot jobs, and tips to keep you moving forward. Powered by Mesilla Valley Transportation, the leaders in safety, fuel efficiency, and innovation, with over 1,600 trucks on the road. Let's hit the road together. This is the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I was going to say good morning, but I don't want it to be morning. I'm kind of ready to go to bed, so we're not going to have that. But I am Kameel Gaines, the owner and host of the Rig on Wheels show, and this is the #1 truck driver recruitment show, and we are proudly featuring MVT, and as always, I'm joined by Robert Pierson. We love to call him just Pierson. He is the VP of recruitment over there at Mesilla Valley Transportation. So each week we are, of course, going to bring you industry news, hot jobs, hot topics, recruitment tips, all of that type of stuff. But the hot topic that we're bringing you today is Trump's tariffs on the auto industry that he's talking about for April 1st. Well, no. Let me take that back. He said he's not going to do it April 1st because he's superstitious. God bless his soul. So he's going to roll it out April 2nd. But we're going to talk about what Foley, the Ford man, feels about that in a few seconds. But let's go ahead and let that roll. Last week, you weren't here. So it was, or I guess I wasn't here. And then the week before that, you weren't here. So it was Josue, and we were talking about the tariffs that Trump had and then kind of pulled back. And it was kind of like a negotiating thing to make sure that Canada and Mexico stood on what they were going to do when it came to protecting the southern borders of Canada and the northern borders of Mexico. But now we have Trump talking about more tariffs. And I keep laughing because I just can't believe he's talking about 25% tariffs on the steel and all of this type of stuff, which really is going to be affecting the auto industry. And then Farley, I said Foley, but Farley of Ford was saying, if you look at the tariffs, let's be real honest, a long-term 25% tariff across Mexico and Canada border would blow a hole in the U.S. industry that we have never seen.
Yeah. He uses this more as a bargaining chip. I'm not the biggest fan of tariffs. Tariffs are a tax. It's a tax that we end up paying for. In the long run here, I think this is more of a bargaining chip and a game of chicken of who needs who more. It's definitely unique to the auto industry because technically, if you buy a Ford Taurus, as an example, that car can go back and forth across the border 8 different times, depending on which stage of production that it is. With that said, part of the goal here, and this has been somewhat of the illusion of multiple administrations, are bringing back manufacturing jobs. Those jobs are not coming back. They are never coming back. Realistically, you may retrofit a factory and have technology take over a little bit more. But with that said, it is a bargaining chip. It does bring people back to the table. I'm still in a wait-and-see strategy. I don't think it's a long-term recipe for success. I think tariffs, generally speaking, have been a lose-lose for all countries involved with it. We'll see what happens on this end, though. I would be very interested when we sit down and do this show 6 months from now to go back retroactively and go, what kind of deals were negotiated out? I'm optimistic. In Trump's first administration, he had a guy named Steve Mnuchin that designed NAFTA 2. NAFTA 2 was a stroke of genius, and we saw a whole lot of development along the southern border in terms of factories. I think there's some opportunities there. Again, I wouldn't get too excited about the rhetoric. Canada's not becoming the 51st state.
No, it's not.
I can tell you that China may deal with the 25% tariffs because we have some concerns on the stuff that brings fentanyl ultimately into the U.S. But from a Mexican standpoint, Canadian standpoint, I see it being more of a bargaining chip, getting into the realm of how do you control illegal immigration. I would say wait and see where we are in 6 months. I think, if you follow what Trump does on social media, every other post will get you very, very concerned. Generally speaking, I'm more concerned what goes on beyond the scenes.
Yeah, he makes my head hurt when you look at all of that, and I do feel like it's a lot of marketing. First of all, everybody needs to use him as a case study when it comes to marketing.
Yeah,
because he is going to be doing one thing and have you off your game in another. So he's very good at that. But in one sense, I wonder, is it going to be where at one point where it's going to be like it loses its momentum after a while? Like he uses this T word tariff so much as a bargaining chip that eventually it's no longer really, it's not a threat anymore. You can't really negotiate with it. Or is it that people like us are going to be the ones that be able to keep it alive?
yeah. I think it was Teddy Roosevelt that talked about carry a big stick, which didn't mean that you went to war. It's that you had the potential to be dominating if you ever went to war. It was carrying that big stick. I think the big stick here is you want to do business with the U.S. We are the #1 global superpower by a wide margin in the world. I think as long as he has that big stick, he's okay.
Right.
Every 4 to 8 year cycle, we go through this where the independent voter ultimately decides what's going to happen on the general election on a national level. We came out of 4 years where Biden really was about half measures. Everything Biden did was, I'm going to do a little bit. When it comes to Ukraine, he did a little bit. When it came to the immigration issues, he did a little bit. A lot of half measures. So we voted in somebody that's the exact opposite of that.
We did not.
Full measures. As a country, we did.
Okay.
We voted in somebody that does a lot of full measures.
Right.
Now, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Right.
We're going to deal with this for the next 4 years. It's going to be like this, where he's going to be very bold. He's empowered. His base is empowered based off of recent polling. People like the direction he's taking it. The majority of people like the direction he's taking it. With that said, I'm always optimistic that, again, we go through a cycle every 4 to 8 years. The pendulum goes back the opposite direction. I'm going to wait and see. Let's see where we are 6 months from now. There are signs and optimism out there that the economy will be strong in the second half of the year. I mean, I can tell you we have customers now that are calling up wanting to do 2-year rate quotes. That's where the customer is telling you, I think freight rates are going to go up steadily and I need to lock in a price. That optimism, and that's all the economy is, it's just optimism.
Yeah.
You're either pessimistic or optimistic. The economy at the end of the day in your household is, how do you feel about the future? Most customers are literally telling us, hey, I want to do a 2-year rate quote. That is generally a good sign that we think we're going to be paying you more in 2 years. Will you lock in a price for us?
Right now. I can admit that I do like his bold moves, except for the DEI and the sensible things like that. But I do like his bold moves. You have to be bold because everybody follows and sits back. I'm not going to say sits back in a lazy way. I don't mean it like that. But they do sit back and see what is it that we do. So we have to be bold. And like you said, Biden was just doing a little bit, enough just to get by. And we can't do that as America. So we have to go all in. I do 100% agree with that statement. So with saying that, another thing that when he threatens, and who gives us the most steel and all of that is going to be Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. So when he is threatening or using it as a bargaining chip, who he's making sure is, if those three don't do, it'll be a bonanza or free for all for South Korea and all of those. So of course, Canada and Mexico don't want that, right? Not us don't want it, of course, but those other countries don't want it too. So I do agree with you when you brought up the Roosevelt.
Yeah, I think it's depending on who you're dealing with. Look, if you're moving freight and you have a grocery store that you're moving freight for, and you have Jim's Groceries that has 2 locations here in Houston, and you have Walmart, you're going to give different terms and conditions to Walmart than you are to Jim's.
Yeah,
You're talking a completely different value proposition in doing business with both those people. I think we need to accept the fact that we're Walmart. I think, Walmart, when they negotiate on freight, as an example, understands who they are and what they are that they do. Right. I think being very honest about that's not braggadocious. It's more in line of, hey, we want a better position at the table. I don't think it's going to be really pretty. I think from an optics standpoint, there's going to be texts and social media posts that you're not going to like over the next 6 months. I would say wait and see, though, and where we are from 6 months now, because I cannot see a world where Canada and Mexico don't come to the table.
Well, yeah, of course, but business is not pretty, but business is not supposed to be pretty. And we are in a capitalist society, and I like cannibalism, so.
I don't know about, do you mean capitalism or cannibalism?
But I said we are in a capitalist society, and I believe in cannibalism. Whatever, listen. So there we are.
I got where you're going.
Yeah.
I lost you at the off ramp, but we're back on.
We're back on. Yes.
I think we have. I think it's a wait and see. We'll have to see how a lot of this plays out. I think there is enough meat on the bone. Look, Canada is going through their own change right now politically. Trudeau's going to be an afterthought in the Liberal Party there for the next foreseeable 6 to 8 years. I think we're in a bit of transition with Canada. Mexico has a much more stable economy economic condition, and politically, they know where they're going to be for the foreseeable future. Yeah. I think that's going to be a little bit more treacherous. But with that said, Mexico needs the U.S. I would like to think we reap benefits from that relationship as well.
We do.
I would think that's going to be the one to keep a closer eye on. I'm not as worried as much as they've talked about the 51st state and everything else. I'm not too worried about Canada. I think that Pierre and the folks up there are going to probably get that worked out.
Yeah, we're not going to buy Canada. We're not going to take over Canada. They're not going to take Bernie Sanders from us. So there's that. Our president is bold. Mexico's president is very bold. I really like her a lot. So there's all of that. But let's take care of this right quick. I want you guys to go ahead and follow us. Follow us on wherever it is that you're watching this or listening, but especially on YouTube. Go ahead and comment, like, and share as well. And if you're also on YouTube, click the bell so you get notified when we do any lives. So now let's go to diesel. So I have that diesel now is $3.67 a gallon, but that is 43 cents less than it was this time last year. I always like to compare it to what it was this time last year because it kind of gives us a real understanding, because we always think, oh my God, it's so expensive. But when you think about what it was this time last year, sometimes it puts things into perspective. Also, something that Pierson and I like to discuss is gas prices. Even though we are in the heavy truck business, we do understand in transportation that there are people that actually do regular gas, when it comes to our industry. So right now, the average national gas price is $3.16, which is 11 cents less than it was this time last year. And I got all of this from AAA. Yep. So this definitely right on the money. And this is as of today. Typically, when we give gas or diesel prices, it's as of Monday, but yesterday was President's Day. So you are the freight man. So I want you to talk freight.
Yeah, freight's, January is not a bad month. January freight was suppressed, though, due to weather factors the first 2 weeks of the year. If you look at it here, the ATA follows the for-hire truck tonnage, was reporting on the 111.9 for December as well. Pretty much it was unchanged. If the weather probably was not a big contributing factor, freight would have been stronger in the month of January. February starting off really nicely, but the ATA is pointing that it wasn't really changed. January ended up just being impacted by weather. I would say that's one of the things that's interesting to watch on the diesel side as well, though, is freight improves. It's going to be interesting over the next 3 to probably 6, maybe in 9 weeks to see what the diesel price does. Because right now, freight appears to be holding steady. We're dealing with more weather this week, especially up in the Midwest and Northeast are going to be getting it a lot. We're in that time of the year that it can change it, but it's very, it is impacting, I think, what we're seeing in the spot markets as well as on truck tonnage. So the ATA follows that. And again, one of the things that we look at is Transport Topics that releases all that data. Transport Topics tends to be more for individuals in a professional setting. I would tell truck drivers, if they've not been on Transport Topics, ttnews.com. It's one of those things that if you're a professional in the industry, you should be on at least once a week.
Yeah, I read it just like anybody will get up and read the Sun-Times. I definitely read Transport Topics on a regular. It's very important. I want to dive into some safety stuff. So the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance definitely put out their 2025 International Road Check. Okay, so we know it's scheduled for March 13th through the 15th. So we know it's scheduled for that because on Faces of the Road calendar, Jabul, can you show me the calendar? Thank you. So on Faces of the Road calendar for March, that's how we know, 13th through the 15th is on there. Okay, so whether you have the physical calendar like we have here, or it's the diesel calendar, it's right here. So the annual 72-hour event spans for all North America, so for the US, Canada, and Mexico. But now they've actually put out what they're going to concentrate on. So it's going to be tires and your false records of duty status. So your tires is going to be the thread depths, the air pressure, signs of wear and tear, proper matching of tire sizes, guys, and evidence of improper repairs. And then the false record of duty is going to be the accurate recording of duty status. So the compliance hours of service. That is a huge one. Because for some reason people still able to get away with this log violation stuff. Like, how are we getting away and we got this e-logs? What we doing? Just dropping it in the dash?
Yeah.
Chicago companies, huh?
Well, we are an industry that often lags behind on most of the regulations that we face we're still talking about clearinghouse and carriers not participating.
That you're right. I got to stop being naive. We still talking about that in this 2025. So the discrepancies between log entries and supporting docs, use of unauthorized log devices, evidence of log tampering or falsification, and failure to maintain logs for a required period of time, or using the wrong statuses. I know that that's in there. So, and other areas that you also want to look at is the vehicle inspections and driver inspections. So just make sure of that. But just to note, it's the tires and records of duty status, RODs is what they call them. Those are the two areas that for middle of May 13th through the 15th. We know that to be so because the Faces of the Road calendar tells us so. So there we go. Well, what you got for us, Pierson?
Speaking of dates, we got our driver appreciation for the first quarter. That's going to be Thursday of this week. So excited about that. We'll have that in El Paso, Denver, Laredo, Nashville, and DFW. Really excited to see that take place. I'll get the information. We'll share it next week as far as who the car winner is for MPG bonus. We're excited about that. It's a good chance to see our drivers that we do that quarterly. So that's going to be a big event here. One of the things there that I'll also go on here, have you seen this story yet? The Aurora driverless truck prep for April milestone?
No, Aurora plans to pull back the human driver.
Yeah, so this is where I tell people not to worry about drivers not being in the truck, because this should make you a little bit scared, to be honest with you. And Aurora Innovations truck practice their well-worn route from Dallas to Houston, all manner of highway headaches befall the computerized driver. Human drivers run red lights, pedestrian jaywalk, sometimes at night and in the rain. Encountering and overcoming each of these scenarios has given the Pittsburgh-based autonomy leader confidence that they're nearly ready to deploy. So starting in April, Aurora plans to pull the backup human driver from behind the wheel of one of its trucks, signifying a commercial deployment. I would be interested if you run that route between DFW and between there and Houston, if you actually see a truck without a driver behind the wheel. I'd be concerned from a safety standpoint with that significantly. Think you go I-45 a lot, right?
Yeah.
You've been on I-45 back and forth, God knows how many times over the years. Would you be real confident if you looked at 80,000 pounds going down the road and you saw an empty-less truck?
In there? Yeah, no, I've seen the autonomous trucks on 45, but it's typically someone in there though. It's still an operator in there, but to have no one in there at all, I don't know how confident I would be of that.
I'm curious if the government within Texas steps up and says, no, we're not doing that. But I would tell you that I-45, depending on the time of day, has very heavy levels of traffic.
Yeah.
Weather conditions, especially in April, you get the thunderstorms that grew up out of north central Texas. I could see this being a recipe for success. And what I will say, though, is I don't wish it ill will.
No. But if it's ill will, it's going to be a lot of casualty.
I can tell you, if it is, it won't be forgotten about.
No, it won't be forgotten about. Somebody's going to jail.
Yeah, that's
hell. But it just they're going big to go home. They're not putting it on 59, 69. They're putting it on 45.
So it's going to be interesting. We'll probably follow up again in April here to see what happens with it. But with that said, you still need a driver on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah,
the DFW side and the Houston side. So the driver's not going away by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, one job becomes two. But it's going to be something to watch here, because it could be interesting from a technology standpoint, but could be really, really concerning from a safety standpoint. Now, I'll give them credit. Aurora probably doesn't need to worry about e-logs, but they're going to have some issues there. I could see that being catastrophic.
Yeah, and they don't have to do too much with the dealing with the It's going to be either a safety good thing or a safety bad thing. That's for sure.
I'm curious, if let's say you're going down the road and this thing hits you, who do you call? The cops they're not going to pull over an autonomous truck. I feel like we're on the Today Show when they're first seeing the and symbol for an email address and they're confused by what they're looking at.
Yeah.
But if you're going down I-45 and this thing, let's say, taps you and just keeps going along its way, who do you call? The cops ain't pulling it over.
Ghostbusters. No, I don't know. Okay, I'm assuming that it has some type of fancy thing, so if it taps you, it's going to stop.
Do you know that, though?
No.
And I don't either.
Well, heck, I don't know that with a driver either. But I'm just...
Yeah, but see, with a driver, let's say XYZ trucking goes down the road. Mm-hmm. There's normally a number somewhere on there. You can see an identifying factor of, hey, I know I call this company right now. Your driver just hit me. Mm-hmm. Who you calling? I don't know that there's a phone number here. they
because right there in that picture is nothing.
So I'm very interested to know. There's a lot to play out with this, and so I'm interested in April. We'll watch this more closely. Like I said, in a situation like this, one job, a lot of the appeal of autonomous is people think they can avoid the driver, right? And if they have high turnover issues, this creates two jobs.
Yeah, it creates two jobs. What it does is keep the driver home.
Yeah,
that's what it does. It's for the drivers that say, I want to be home, I want to be home, I want to be home. That's what it does. So it doesn't, the driver doesn't go away. It makes the driver's job different. It's what it does. That's what it does right there.
That's fascinating. It's
in
concerning.
2 months, 2 months, 6. I think probably what's going to happen is every other podcast, we're going to end up having an update regarding that. It's going to be something regarding that.
Yeah. I will say too, over the next 4 years, one of the executive orders aims at reducing federal regulation. So essentially what they're doing is for every regulation you want to impose, you have to find 10 that you can get rid of. Now that sounds like a lot. There's a ton of regulation on the books. There's lawyers that in their own field of expertise don't know all the rules and regulations. Yeah. So it's one of the things that they've said that if you're going to add a regulation, you have to pull back 10. So what that generally means speaking is I see there being regulation added over the next 4 years, but at a much more gradual, slower, methodical pace, which from a trucking industry standpoint, it gives us a bit of a reprieve and a reset. It allows us to go ahead and kind of slow down and become subject matter experts in the field. Because one of the challenges is new regulations happen so rapidly, you never keep up with it. You literally are behind the 8 ball. This may only go for the next 4 years, but it would be interesting to see the impact on trucking and how much additional regulation, if any, we see over the next 4 years.
We'll see. And then I want to see what Duffy is going to start doing. I want to see his name in the news. Yeah. He's already starting with some stuff in the oil and all of that. But I just want him to get started and really put a stamp on things. And I want him to shut down the naysayers, because there's a lot of people, because he doesn't have a strong background in trucking. So I want him to be able to succeed, because I want us to succeed. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm a Duffy fan, but if he succeeds, that means we succeed. If that makes sense.
All I'll point out is the last guy just liked trains. That was his qualifications. He liked trains.
I mean, he liked trains. Like, who's the train like that Tyler would look at? What's the train with the
Thomas the Train?
Thomas the Train. So, there's just like trains. And so, but Duffy, I really hope he does well, because if he does well, then we do well.
Yeah, I'd agree. And there's a lot of this stuff that when you get past the politics of it, a lot of these people in these types of roles, I want to be successful, no matter what the political view is.
Yes.
I wanted Pete Buttigieg to be successful in his role.
Yeah.
I benefit and reap the benefits of it. So we're going to see here, the next 4 years are going to be one of those things where you're going to want to be on transport topics probably every other day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk about 4 hot jobs. Okay, so Pierson really had 3. And then I was like, no. We got to squeeze another one out of him. Because I said when Josue is on the show, he gives us more than 3. So we got 4 hot jobs. So when we come back, we're going to talk about 4 jobs, guys.
We can say the word dedicated. We'll bring up that word.
Okay, dedicated. We'll be back.
My name is Josue Fierro, and I am a recruiter, and I've been with Mesilla Valley going on 3 years now. Before I joined the Mesilla Valley Transportation family, I was at GCU as a loan officer. I feel that I acquired some skills there, providing customer service, learning, to listen to the customer, and, learning patience. I think that helped me out right now where I'm at with Mesilla Valley Transportation, because I could actually apply those skills to what I do now, which is, helping drivers, getting them behind the wheel and getting them a job. So basically what I do here in recruiting, it's something good. We for sure give jobs to drivers, so it feels good, that we help people. Communication is great there in our department, from leadership to employees. We have a good working environment there, it feels homey. Like it feels like a home environment. It feels a family-oriented environment. So yeah. I guess I acquired skills here at Mesilla Valley Transportation. One of them would be knowledge of the transportation industry. I was not aware of the transportation. I was just more into financing, and I think it's good to know that transportation takes a big role in our country, and we do something good here. What made me apply at Mesilla Valley Transportation was basically word of mouth, the reputation that this company has. You see them everywhere on billboards, the trucks on the street, you hear them in the news ads. So you see Mesilla Valley Transportation everywhere, and you just hear from people here, local people saying that Mesilla Valley is great, it's a great company to work for, and I was excited to join. My life changed when I joined Mesilla Valley Transportation in a big way. And one of them was them, of course, providing stability, giving me a peaceful state of mind, knowing that I could provide for my family, knowing that I could do what I do every single day without worries of, job security, in other words. And they actually helped me out a lot as well as far as my daughter. She's 17. She wanted to get a first job in the summer. Marketing was able to go ahead and help me out, bring her in here as an internship over the summer, which she loved. She gained a lot of experience for her being her first job. Now she loves it. Now she wants to go to school for it and get a degree, so she's happy. And I'm happy. I would definitely recommend people to work here. Ever since I walked here the first day, it felt like a family-oriented work environment. Everyone's smiling, everyone's friendly, everyone talks to you like if they know you for years. So for sure, if I had to go ahead and tell someone, I would definitely recommend someone to work here at Mesilla Valley. My name's Josue Fierro. I'm a driver recruiter, and MVT changed my life.
Welcome back. We're here now. Let's go. Let's talk about these hot jobs. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is a dedicated job. Dedicated.
Yep. We have a customer out of Groveport, Ohio. We've done a great job with them. Our team up there in Groveport have made sure to take care of that customer, and the customer is now rewarding us with more freight opportunities. I can tell you that our on-time percentage with that customer is 99.998%. So they've been very pleased with us on that end. We have two opportunities available with this dedicated. First is the day shift. And the day shift is a store delivery driver. It's 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. start time. So your shift ends just in time to get home to see your kids come home from school. Those people are Monday through Friday averaging $1,200 to $1,400 a week. Again, all this is no touch freight. We do not touch freight on any of this. Good working hours, really good team up there. Routine delivery locations that we go to that will take you within 2-3 weeks. You'll know exactly where you're going, how to get in, all the intricacies of it. So that's $1,200 to $1,400 a week. That's the schedule one. The other side of it is what we call XTD drivers. These are special delivery, nighttime moves. So generally, most of these shifts start at about 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at night. With some potential weekend work available. But again, it's home daily on this opportunity here. These folks on average are anywhere between $1,500 to $1,750 a week. Had a couple of them close to about $1,900 for the week last week when I looked over all the numbers. Again, no touch. Being on time is really important on this stuff to the customer. So there's a lot of opportunity here. One is called the store delivery driver. The other is called XTD. So as you talk to your recruiter about this exciting dedicated opportunity, which on the phone they'll share with you who the direct customer is as well, by all means tell them, hey, I'm interested in store delivery or I'm interested in XTD, though we can get into all the details on that. The orientation is going to be March 3rd, 4th, 5th up in Obitz, Ohio, which is about 9 miles away from the actual job site. We are literally going to do it right up there. Got to be able to do orientation the 3rd, 4th, and 5th from the location that we have in Obitz, Ohio. There's no other orientation. It's right there on the scene. So if this job interests you, now is the time to act. Call in today to that number that you see on your screen, 281-968-3100. Make sure to call in today and get the process started on that end. But now let's talk to you about some other exciting opportunities. Do you want to pull up Division 100, please? Division 100, that would be that one right there. We have openings for about 10 individuals out of El Paso, Texas. A lot of this freight's coming out of the borderland, going up to the Midwest, Southern Great Lakes states. coming back down into the state of Texas. Start out your week with an average length of haul of about 1,400 miles. These folks are averaging anywhere between $1,400 to $1,600 a week consistently. This is also a unique job if you have a passport. We do not require a passport. However, we do have a customer that has freight that will go up to Toronto or to Montreal, where you can occasionally supplement your runs with that. And anytime you do that, it's an extra $100 per driver on those runs. So a nice way to supplement and boost up your potential take home for the week. Great opportunity there with Division 100. Let's go on to the next division. We're going to do Division 210. There we go. Division 210, that's going to be our Southwest Regional Division. Really strong customer base out of this market. If you're one of those individuals that wants to avoid all the sleet, the snow, the constant weather that you're going to get in some of the parts of the country and stick to, quite frankly, some of the most beautiful running lanes in the U.S., Division 210 is going to be right up your pathway. A lot of engineered lanes here, point A, point B, point C. Really good weekly home time, averaging anywhere between 1,200 to 1,450 a week right now. We're looking for drivers out of Phoenix, Albuquerque, San Antonio, Laredo, as well as El Paso. We are now adding to this list for Division 210. So great opportunities there if you live out of Phoenix, Albuquerque, San Antonio, Laredo, or El Paso, Texas. Weekly home time, really nice running areas. We work with customers such as Tesla, Lowe's, Electrolux, Home Depot, Container Store, and a whole bunch of others here that make this lane extremely predictable. And last but not least, my favorite division, the stress-free division that is 430. Again, well, most of the country's freezing, though I will admit Houston's not exactly balmy today. Out of Jacksonville, we're looking for folks to run I-10 to Houston, Houston down to Laredo, and then Laredo back to Jacksonville, averaging anywhere between $1,100 to $1,300 a week. This is going to get you home on a weekly basis, give you a nice work-life balance, keep you in probably one of the more attractive running lanes in terms of stress. A lot less traffic, a lot less weather interruptions. And so we have divisions open, Division 430 open. So be sure, if you don't remember all these divisions, it's not a problem, though. Talk to your recruiter. Your recruiter will basically find out what your wants and needs are and find the division that's right for you. Additionally, we have a whole bunch of other markets that we hire out of. We're actively looking right now out of Salt Lake City, Portland, Albuquerque, Phoenix, Denver, El Paso, San Antonio, DFW, Houston, Laredo, Nashville, Memphis, Louisville, St. Louis, and Jacksonville, and a whole bunch of other locations. So if you could give a call to
281-968-3100.
There we go. I knew you'd remember that prefix. Call that 281 number, 281-968-3100, or visit rigonwheels.com today. Between us, along with the 40 other plus clients that Rig on Wheels has, they're going to want to know what your wants are, your needs are, your background, and ultimately are going to find the best job for you, either with MVT or with somebody else, and set you up for long-term success. If you have ever gone to a new job and that first 90 days is a struggle and it's just not working out for you, you know you don't want to be on that cycle of another 90-day job, another 90-day job. So ultimately, if you're looking for your long-term career path, that's where the fine folks at Rig on Wheels can go ahead and make that look pretty for you.
Absolutely. Raven wanted to know, how many drivers do you need on a dedicated?
Yeah, we have 7 XTD opens and 7 store delivery driver openings. So realistically, when we get up to Ohio, we'll be doing an orientation with 14 people, plus a couple of our folks along the way, and have everything knocked out so that by the time March 5th starts, they'll be getting up and starting the following day.
So you got that, Ravens? 7 and 7. That's what they need. Almost like 2 and 2, but 7 and 7. So like Pierson said, give us a call at 281-968-3100. There are recruiters standing by the phone. That's like an old infomercial line.
Time Life used to do that a lot.
Yes. Yes. And then, or you can go directly to rigonwheels.com and you have the driver application tab. You can click on that. But what we're going to do right now is go to commercial. And when we get back, I go to the lengthy commercial where it talks about the driver appreciation, because I want Pierson to dive into more about the driver appreciation week that's coming, not week, the day that's coming up on Thursday.
I feel very, very excited about my achievement. I'm very proud of giving to the company the legacy of the Sandoval family. I'm very proud, very excited. So you can see it on my face. So very excited.
Well, it's been a big passion of ours to get fuel mileage and to be the best. And my goal was to get all the drivers wanting to do it. It'd be one thing if I have 5 drivers kind of get fuel mileage, that's great. But what's that doing for the environment? What's that doing for the company? So by creating the game where he or she with the best fuel mileage at the end of the quarter gets a car, it makes a lot of the people want to do it. So the idea is to get more and more people trying to get through. I mean, we create the best truck we can get. I make a truck that's easy rolling, less parasitic drag, very aerodynamic, and then I got to get in the head of this gentleman and the other people driving and make them want to drive it that way. Where you can drive the car easy. I always say if you treat it like it's about to break, it never will. Treat a truck like a beautiful woman, gently, caress it nice and caress it gently and make it last. Makes the truck last, makes you last. And the safety, like he said, patience. Patience is everything. Patience in truck driving. If you're impatient, think about it. Every time somebody pulls in front of you, which is all the time, you get all mad, you can just run into them. You got to try not to wreck with these people. You're always driving defensively, so you ease on the brake and you make sure you don't want to just slam on the brake and then slam on the gas. That kills the brakes, kills the mileage. So when they're being patient, they're slowly taking their time and staying out of the longest line and getting in the shortest line and ease around and just make yourself go gently and go. Just take care of it, and that makes you safer. It makes the tires last, makes the brakes last, makes the motor last, and makes the fuel last, and it makes the people around us last because we're not running over them. Safety.
Hey, my name is Roberto Sandoval. I am a driver trainer in this company. I have 24 years as a truck driver here in this company, and I win the 25,000 and also the trainer of the year, mentor of the year. I can't believe it right now, but I do the best always.
What do you do in order to get the best fuel mileage?
I always do, first of all, be positive. Secondly, set my objectives up. And third, just do it. No matter what happens, because sometimes you cannot get a good MPGs because there is a traffic, a lot of wind, or heavy loads. But I wait for tomorrow. And don't worry, be positive no matter what happens. Just avoid be anger or I can do it. No, I can do it. I'm gonna do it. That's all we have to do. Don't give up. Never give up.
I'm so proud of Roberto and all the things he's done, and it's not just his family. I forget how many people he's trained over the years, but we've had a lot of car winners and a lot of trainers that are still training here that won a car because they learned from him. They went on, they started here, they saw how he did it, they listened, they watched, and then they go win a car on their own, and then they train somebody who then wins. It just keeps getting passed down. We just keep creating better and better drivers, and a lot of it started at the top, and the top is Roberto Sandoval.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you.
Always is a pleasure to see you in this season.
It's the holiday season. What would the holiday do without Sandoval?
Positivity.
Yeah, you know what I liked about Sandoval, what he said was, you just do it. I mean, when you know that this is a goal that you want, so every time I hear this commercial or on YouTube or what have you, that's what I hear him say is you just do it. If you know it's needing to be done, you just do it. No excuses. Of course, positivity, because that's what you have to manifest is being positive, because if you're going to be negative, then it's definitely not going to work. But be positive and just go ahead and do what needs to be done. But I always like to highlight the fact that, yes, MVT knows that driver appreciation within the truck driving industry is in September. We know that because Face of the Road has it in the calendar, right?
Yep.
But every quarter MVT has a driver appreciation in El Paso, Hutchins, wherever. What else?
Hutchins, Laredo, El Paso, Denver, and Nashville, and more coming soon.
Okay, awesome. So have in those terminals, and then, in one terminal is going to be where they give away the car for the best MPG and the perfect CSA score.
Say it again.
For the perfect CSA score. Yes.
What are we giving away?
The car.
Oh, yeah, the car is based off of MPG, fuel economy, right? Now, you can't have any tickets or accidents along the way.
Right, and a perfect CSA score.
Okay, I'm sorry. You probably need to take my job here. I get the feeling you're quick.
I'm looking like, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. We have the list on where you are versus MPG, and it's an exciting thing because it's extremely competitive. We got a lot of people going for it. We've had the grizzled veteran get that car. We've had people that were in the industry for a total of 9 months that turned around and finally got it.
Yeah, I remember
we
that.
literally will work with you to get the best possible fuel economy, and it's not just the equipment. There's about 25 things that we do to get better fuel economy, but the number one factor is driver behavioral patterns on the road.
Right.
The driver is the dynamic in that equation. So it's one of the things that we work with is you see where you are both in the in-cab communications as well, multiple postings in our locations that show where you are MPG wise versus your peers. So if you're somebody sitting at 8 miles a gallon and you're nowhere near that leaderboard, between our driver services department, our fleet manager, some of our mentors out on the road, will work with you to get the best possible MPGs and get that improved. Here lately, our winners have been in that 11.5 to 12.5 range in terms of great fuel economy. What that ultimately means at the end of the day is we're able to avoid having to take the money out of driver's pay. Because like I said, once you buy the truck and you get the freight, the only place you can cut expenses is either what you're compensating the driver or from fuel. We focus on fuel, and it's what salvages even the worst times where freight wasn't very good a year and a half ago in our industry. Our drivers continue to make money. We just focus more on saving money in the tanks.
Yeah, that's why you all are big in the efficiency of fuel. Like it is big for you. Everything is large around that. Tell us your average when it comes to that. Was it 12?
Well, the average for the fleet's about 9.5, but the average of our winner is closer to 12 to 12.5.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's I can remember when I got into the industry in January of 2006. If you had somebody at 6.5 miles a gallon, that was a big deal. And then 8 became the goal. And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of companies I talk to. When I go to the truck show in Louisville this year, I promise you I'm going to have 5 or 6 people tell me I'm lying on the fuel economy. Like, mentally, they cannot get their heads around that stuff. The thing is, it's driver behavioral patterns. That is the difference. And so we'll occasionally get drivers that go, I want to select where I have fuel. I don't want to go with your routing. That's fine, but go get your own truck and waste your own fuel. Like, this is a team effort here. This is not a one-man show. This is a team effort. And that's where I say that if you want to improve your fuel economy, we have MPG bonuses. We have the car giveaway, the yearly $25,000 giveaway. It's a team effort. But at the end of the day, the driver behavioral patterns behind the wheel are what make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a professional driver, being a professional driver. I'm not saying that if you don't win, you're not a professional driver. However, having your eye on that prize definitely makes you a professional driver, because in order to try to meet those buckets, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'll also point out, so we're only going to have one winner of the car every quarter. We have 1,900 drivers. We do recognize the people that don't necessarily get the car. And so on a monthly basis, there's an MPG bonus. We skew the minimum mileage required in the situation of a dedicated, as an example, so that they have a chance at getting it. But everybody's eligible for that MPG bonus on a monthly basis, and it ranges anywhere from a penny a mile up to retroactively 4 cents a mile. And I can tell you the majority of the fleet will get an MPG bonus on a monthly basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so what I want to do now is, now that we have discussed talking about the I'm not Semper, Jesus Christ, the the driver appreciation and things like that, it just makes me think the next thing that we definitely should talk about is the Blue Beast, right? And the best person to talk about that is going to be Joe with that commercial, right? Sometimes we don't always get to that, but I like to talk about it because the Blue Beast is big enough for teams, even though majority of the fleet is going to be solo drivers. So that commercial really gets in detail and you're able to see so much. So let's go ahead and play that if we would, Terrell.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LTs. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet. And if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick and mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Joe does such a good job when he talk about the Blue Beast. I just like, let me talk about this part. When he said heat, I was thinking how cold it is in this conference room. And I was like, oh, why doesn't the heat just come on in here? But Joe does such a good job with explaining all of that. So it's like Pierson and I don't even have to go into talking about it. But it brings me to the topic when we talk about, we know that this is a recruitment show, but retention and recruitment go hand in hand. And it also is the bottom line to your profits, right? You can't have recruitment without retention, can't have retention without recruitment, and you can't have that without profit, okay? So with saying that, I'd like to tell you all more about my mentoring program for the smaller carriers. So it is the Trucking Business Accelerator. It is a 6-week group program. and it's designed to help you grow and grow your fleet so you can attract better. You want to attract better drivers, right? For your particular company, because every company is going to have a different culture and a different standard. And you want to be able to maximize your revenue. So our industry is no joke. You make one mistake, it empties out your profits. So we definitely want to maximize on what we do well, and that's going to be building relationships. And we want to go over the blueprint for success. So the class is filling up. So what I need you all to do is go directly to the Rig on Wheels website to be able to sign up. Also, at the bottom of this YouTube is going to be the link to be able to sign up for it as well. But you can go to the Road Store on the Rig on Wheels, rigonwheels.com to be able to sign up. So either one, whether or not you're on YouTube listening to this or you're somewhere else listening and you need to go directly to the Road Store, it's fine. So let's definitely make this happen and get you all rolling and more revenue for you small carriers.
I will say the line that you have that I like since the best is blueprint for success. The worst thing, be it any size carrier, is to be successful but not be able to explain why. Failure is nice because the nice thing with failure, you at least have something that you can learn from.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't put you out of business. But the nice thing with failure is that you can make adjustments and, oh, I don't want to do that again. The worst thing is to be a carrier, be successful, but not be able to define why you were successful. It is having a calculated blueprint for success, understanding what it is I need to do to be successful. One of the things, we talked earlier in the show about half measures, and from a trucking industry, you can hire a ton of drivers, but if you don't retain them, you're going to fail. You can run a bunch of miles, but if they're not profitable, you're going to fail. You can pick up a bunch of new customers, but if the customers don't align with your overall business needs, you're going to fail. So just because you're successful does not mean the job is done. And ultimately having that blueprint, having a detailed description of what you're trying to accomplish and going, this is where we're going 12 months, 24 months down the road, makes a significant difference. And so I will tell anybody that, look, having an outside voice, having an outside presence, going through, and the nice thing with a group setting, you're surrounded by peers. You're able to have that conversation and have an organized blueprint for success.
And learning from each other.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely learning from each other. So that's the reason why I wanted it to be a group session, so we can have discussions and learn from each other, have discussion in a classroom setting virtually, and learn from each other every Wednesday. So with that being said, at the bottom of the screen in the details on YouTube, you'll have a link, or you'll be able to go directly to the Rig on Wheels, rigonwheels.com, and go to the Road Store tab, and you'll see where you can sign up there as well. But until next time, guys, we just want you to be safe. This week is going to be a lot of different weather throughout the country. Thank goodness next week we're going to be back in the 80s in Houston. This is what God wanted for me in Houston, is 80 degrees. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll be here next week.
Oh, yes. I deserve it. I deserve this type of temperature. So we want that. But we're going to sign off now. We want everybody to be safe and blessed. So see you next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye-bye. I'll turn